then you can go.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay, I'll call the EDA meeting to order.
On the agenda tonight, we have three things. The first thing is, I had a request to do a standing meeting time change for the EDA meeting. A request to schedule the future EDA meetings to after the scheduled council meeting. So we have more time to talk and not a restriction. The other thing is, the RFP proposals will be opened up after the regular council meeting, so this would stay, consistent in just having the meeting after the council meeting.
So are we gonna set a time limit so we can go home at a reasonable time? Hour?
No more than an hour, that's fine. I was just worried about.
30
I was just worried about the budget stuff coming up, finalizing and all the truth and taxation meetings and.
Right,
working on
Yeah,
having
that's-
time for E EDA.
15.
I don't wanna have
a.
a problem with moving it to after the council meeting, but I do know that some people that have done that, some of their meetings get very, very long and they don't accomplish anything.
Well, the next meeting, which would be the truth and taxation, will have to move the EDA meeting till after the
Yes.
council meeting. And then as we go through the two proposals that I have, the bid opening is, one is December 27th, and so that would be after the council meeting. And then the other one is, I think February 14th, which would have to be after the council meeting also.
So, and we can I entertain a motion? I can entertain a motion during the EDA, can't I? I'd entertain a motion to move the, standing meeting to after the council.
So we don't think we
meeting.
can get this done from 6 to 7 o'clock every time like we're doing it right now?
You're not gonna have that time is what we're saying.
We have all the other things coming up that are before the council meeting in the next.
So this is just through the end of the year then, or?
Well, we can always change it back after the
Right.
beginning of the year.
Can't we start at 5 as opposed to?
No.
No, because I can't get here at 5.
Okay.
I'll make it a motion. Anybody has any?
Why don't we just, right now, just go until February 14th, that's all.
Okay.
Through
So
February
if the
14th.
RFPs are open during, after the council meeting, do we have to wait till the next council meeting to approve them, or do you?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anything you do after the meeting won't be taken care of till for 2 weeks. It's maybe longer.
So, but I do have a motion, but I don't have a second yet.
Are you thinking you're just gonna open them and grant them the same?
Well, I don't, isn't that usually how we do it?
Well, you might wanna look at them for more than 20
I
minutes.
think these are a little bit more intense.
Okay.
And so I believe that, I think, you open them up, that's the first time that you're going to be reading them, addressing them, there might be more questions. You may want those individuals that did a proposal to come back in and give you more information.
Okay.
I just wanna ensure that you guys give yourself enough time to make the right decision.
Yeah. I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Nay.
And
Aye.
this is only till the 14th?
For right now, yes.
We'll put it
14th.
to February 14th.
Cause that way we'll get all our truth and taxation and budget.
So we're gonna have an EDA every meeting now till then, or what,
Well,
basically?
we may not, if you guys can finalize on RFPs and we feel comfortable with
So
them.
then we shouldn't
ready-
have to, we shouldn't have anything before 6:30 from here until then.
Unless there's a planning and zoning meeting or
You
something
can
like
get that
that.
at 6:30. You're gonna lose some, you're gonna lose some workshop time, you're gonna do something, but you're losing something.
What do we got? We got truth and taxation next meeting or the weekend, or the meeting after?
So next meeting, you have truth and taxation that starts at 6 o'clock.
Right.
So you won't have a workshop, you won't have anything, that's what you'll have next meeting is truth and taxation.
Yeah, and that should be at 6, that's once
Yep,
a year.
and then you have your 7 o'clock meeting, and then you'll have your EDA meeting after that.
meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, RFP for 224 First Street Southwest is the first, RFP that we're going to be going through. Did everybody have a chance to read it, make notes, thoughts? I'm gonna highlight some of the items within the RFP right now. So if we go to the first, page, the first thing I'm gonna highlight is that we're looking at bids to be due on Monday, December 27th at 3 p.m. So all bids have to be in City Hall and stamped with a date stamp and a time, Heather, on the bids. They will not be opened until that EDA meeting. I will not open them until I sit down with all of you guys.
And that's for the house?
This is for, yep,
Oh, okay.
I don't wanna refer to it as the Roy's property.
No.
I'd like to refer to it as the 224 First Street Southwest. As we go through it, I do want to point out that the EDA is most interested in proposals that will either renovate the current home or demolish and build a single-family or two-family dwelling that is compliant to the zoning code. I just wanna make sure that I pointed that out in the RFP. Are you all still in agreement with that?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's the main goal.
Okay. Again, the schedule for the RFP, it says in here that the request for proposal opening will be at 7:30 on December 27th, 2021. In the proposal, it has a request for 6 copies to be returned to City Hall.
With one electronic.
Yes, that is correct. On the credentials, I took the credentials and I actually made a fill-in form, and so that when they turn in the proposal, that they shouldn't miss anything that's being asked. Description and explanation of the organization, please list 3 references and their contact information, list any outstanding obligations with the city, please attach any professional license, the pricing, please state the total cost of all land acquisition. The price cannot exceed $3,500. Projected estimated market value of final redevelopment of the project, design and construction services, proposal schedule of completion, expectations the proposing party would have for the city of Madelia, insurance that they'll be holding, and the compliance. A successful contractor must comply with all local, state, and federal laws. That is the RFP that we
So
put
what's the
together.
insurance cover
The insurance for themselves,
for themselves?
just like any contractor has to provide any liability insurance that they have on themselves.
But once we sell it to them, we can't really, I suppose we can enforce it due to the contract book, couldn't we? But all contractors have, it's the non-contractors that don't always have insurance.
Is that something that I need to take out of the proposal?
Oh, good, it's good to see it, wanna make sure that they're licensed, properly insured, keeping it.
Any other
If a
questions?
non-contractor takes that out with their homeowner's insurance,
No,
so they'd have to take out secondary construction.
they'd have to have a secondary market, and it isn't that expensive.
No.
It's just something you have to go to the insurance agent.
Any other questions you guys have on the proposal?
So theoretically, back to the time frame, oops, too far. What page was that, the first one?
If you were to approve this proposal, it would then go into the paper. I don't have it on here, I
Down on
apologize.
the bottom there. Second, 9/16.
Yep, It will be advertised in the Times Messenger on the 2nd, the 9th, and the 16th. It will also be on our website and on our Facebook. I've also listed direct mail individuals. If you have anybody else that is not currently on this list, please let me know so I can add them, so I can direct mail this proposal to them.
Was Reinhardt on there? No.
ARR.
Yeah.
Is that something design would wanna be, maybe?
Okay. Anyone else that you guys can think of?
Oh, there it is, Burnham Construction.
Any questions or concerns about the scoring criteria in regards to how we will evaluate the proposals when they do come in?
Are you gonna have each of us score it and then combine those scores, or we're gonna discuss the scoring and try to generate the score out of 5 people, or what?
That is your guys' choice, and that's something that you guys need to think about. If we can do it like we do interviews where each individual does their own scoring, and we can look at that, or if you want to do it as a group, either or, whichever one you prefer.
It could be just as easy to do individual scoring. They're all gonna be, are you going to, you said you're not gonna pre-open the
Packets.
packets, but you almost have to.
We're gonna take the names off there.
Yeah, you'll have to,
To get the names, they should actually list, and that's actually listed in there, that they have to put their list on the top of the envelope.
know to take the, redact the names for us.
Oh, so are you giving me permission to open the bids prior to the opening then?
Right, for us to score them, we should be scoring them blind.
Yeah, I don't wanna see any name, I don't
No,
want to
they
see.
should be completely redacted. And actually, you probably should redact the references for us anyway. You can call them, but I don't know if we necessarily need the references either.
No.
As long as you call them, that they can verify that they're contractors, I don't think that or not contractors and are capable in some way of doing the work, I think that's probably good enough.
Yep. You okay with that, Glenn?
I did have Patrick look over the PDF, and you feel comfortable with approving to go ahead on advertisement for it?
Yeah, that was a little bit.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would need a motion to approve me to go ahead and advertise it unless anybody else has any other questions, concerns, changes.
You want it all in, including, being able to open them and pull the names out for prep?
Right, the only
Yeah,
other
if you wanna make that statement.
question I guess I would have is if we do need additional information, is that just gonna be above and beyond the additional, the first scores? Are you thinking? I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal, but if we don't wanna necessarily know who's doing the bid, I don't think we should ask them to come in and give an oral presentation or anything either. So,
And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the way I designed this one is obviously reflected in the next one, and I believe that the next one for the city hall development is going to probably need a little bit more, so I'm just getting you guys prepared for the criteria.
I think the motion needs to include the ability for her to scrub
Yeah, I
those
think
and
We
take
would
the
only
names
need
off.
like 5, 6, 7, and 8 available to us, wouldn't we? That's the price, the market value, the design, and the schedule.
Okay.
Everything else is all stuff that would be, go back to what those ideas.
Because I was wondering if you wouldn't wanna have copies of each of them for each of them to have have a copy of each bid, you know what I mean?
So I'm gonna open the bids and prepare for scoring for that night. I'll put them together in a packet, so each one of you has a packet for each bid.
So, and I did get a motion, right?
I don't think so.
What's that?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
I will go ahead and make the motion.
With all those stipulations?
Yeah, just with the, redactions to make sure that it's
A non-biased.
a non-biased blind process.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, do I have any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Alright.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Alright, the second RFP is the redevelopment of 116 West Main. The highlights on this one is looking at Monday, February 14th, with a 3 p.m. bid. The bids have to be into the office at 3 p.m. And then site conditions. We had a lengthy conversation in regards to the site conditions. So the site conditions, if you find that in the proposal, if you want me to read it out loud, if you guys feel comfortable with that. Site conditions, the city of Medelia makes no representations or warranties regarding the property, including no representation of financial assistance or discounts for site conditions. This will be as is, disposition and sale, and evaluated under the factors listed in this request for proposal. Interested parties are advised to undertake due diligence with reviewing the property and submitting a proposal. You feel okay about that? Okay. Schedule and process for the RFP. I put down the important dates. The release of request for proposal, I'm giving us a whole month to pull it together. So Monday, January 3rd's meeting, that's kind of my goal in regards to making sure that we fine tune everything and that we all feel comfortable with what has been written. So then after, on July 3rd, EDA meeting, if it is approved, then it will go out for advertisement. And again, advertisement would be no different than this other one. Advertisement would be January 6th, 13th, 20, and 27th in the newspaper, also on the website and the Facebook post. RFP deadline for submittal would be the February 14th. Proposals will be open and reviewed also on February 14th. Possible interviews or requests for presentation could be in February. Public and neighborhood meeting would be in February. Recommendations to council, EDA, hopefully by March 14th.
So, when you advertise that, are you gonna advertise it with the pictures that you found for the, plans for the two buildings?
Yeah, I'm still searching for more plans. I mean, obviously, if you took a look at the plans that I
Be
did find.
pretty tough.
Yeah, they're pretty tough. But this request for proposal would have everything in it.
We were talking about putting together maybe a photo album of interior space, just a bunch of pictures to help as well. I don't know what
Oh,
those.
was that in that one?
For sure. I just
I
double
gotta
checked
cross
it.
that one off then.
What should-
Are we
put that
open to
one
giving
to the
tours
hour
or open to having a open house or what?
Are we planning on having an open house? That's up to you guys if you want an open house. We can schedule that.
Well, it's kinda more up to you, I guess, if they're gonna request individual tours, then somebody's gonna have to be here to let them in. If we do it as a design showing to where all interested parties can look at it in the same 8-hour time frame or whatever, that would be maybe easier. I don't know if there's anybody that would be able to answer any questions, in-depth questions about systems or infrastructure.
Once you guys approve and release it, we can set up an open house in January for interested people.
And if they wanna bring their own devices to measure rooms and look at interior spaces and all that stuff, they could.
Okay. So I wrote that down.
And then we'll score these the same as the other ones, right?
Yep.
And we'll add the other names to the same list.
But I'm just, can we talk about anything else you guys wanna add onto it before we open house,
Well,
more
the only-
pictures?
The only difference with this one is since it's all gonna be commercial, it's probably, I don't think you'll be able to have a non-licensed, home builder or, a flipper come in, so I don't know if we'd have to offer that the same. Plus, I think all those construction licensing requirements are probably mandatory for this and not just suggested. I don't think you should probably be letting anybody do any non-licensed contractors doing the commercial work in here anyway.
Okay.
Kind of a issue down the road, especially with this particular building. Just my thought, I guess. Probably not a deal breaker, but if there's somebody that isn't necessarily a contractor, they should probably have a contractor in mind or have some sort of licensed contractor.
Well, if somebody buys it, obviously they can do the subcontractor list. If somebody doesn't have the license and somebody purchases it, they can
Right,
give
that's what I'm
us a
saying, they should
subcontractor's list.
probably supply a license, at least their main licensed subcontractor or their main licensed contractor that's gonna be performing the work at some point, I think. Since it's all gonna be classified as commercial and probably needs to be
Okay.
somewhat inspected at some point, I suppose.
So I will then put together, more pictures and just fine tune the other things on here. If you guys think of anything later on, please call me so I can update it, so we can address it at next meeting.
I don't know who's all gonna be interested, but I guess my biggest concern would just be making sure whoever is interested has a grasp of the size of the project. That would be my biggest concern, is turning it over to somebody that buys it for whatever purpose they're gonna buy it for, pitch, and then, a year from now realizes there's no way they can pull it off and we have an empty vacated space, so.
Well, I think
There
that'll
is-
be on us.
No, absolutely, absolutely, but I guess what I'm saying is, let's just make sure that the vetting process is there to make sure that doesn't happen, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, if that does, there's a stipulation in here in regards to if they don't meet the requirements in the timeline, and
Yeah,
where is that?
it's in the reversionary clause.
That we have,
The right to
yeah,
repossess
the
and
city will,
repurchase the property for the sale price, so.
reversionary clause in any sale whereby if the reuse redevelopment of the property does not proceed per the approval proposal, the city retains the right to repurchase the property for the sale price. Deed restrictions may also be placed on the property to include certain uses that may negatively impact the property and or surrounding neighborhood. The city reserves the right to reject any and all offers for the property. So that's why I need you guys to please read through this so you know what is all in here.
So what's that listed under?
Site conditions. So for next meeting, then, please come back with a red line on this, so I have, a little bit, of some direction in regards to fine tuning it. I do not have that in the other, proposal, just because that one is pretty basic. Okay.
So like that, that clause that you just mentioned, that would totally be dependent on their timeline, so if they revise their timeline,
If
we'd have
they-
to be tracking that, or what? Or
Yep.
it's gonna have like a 3-year run out or something, where if it's not.
Their proposal will need to be in a certain timeline.
Right.
We have to have some sort of push to make them redevelop it, and we don't want it sitting, ripped apart, and then it sits there for 5 years.
I know, the only issue that I see with that is kinda like our building over there, or any other building, with, material out times and all that
And that
stuff.
is understandable, that is totally understandable, but there has to be a follow-through on it.
Right, so I guess what I'm asking is, who's gonna be responsible for making sure that they're, is the EDA responsible for making sure they're on their timeline?
Yeah, I would
Are we
imagine
gonna,
all of us are.
are they gonna have to bring a revised timeline if they run into a, major backup in building materials or something? Okay.
It doesn't specifically say that anywhere in here though, does it?
No, but that again, to the red line, if that's what we want to put in there, or if you want me to take it out, but I do believe that you guys need to address some follow-through on it.
Great. But I just, legally, what does the statute of limitation, I mean, can we give them 2 years, or give them 3 years, or it doesn't really matter? Whatever their timeline is, if they don't meet their, I don't know what it's gonna take to redo
Well, it's just dependent on
what the, right, but,
Probably be a negotiation with their attorney, whoever they have to finalize the agreement, because they're
Okay.
gonna have counsel to, for a purchase of this size to negotiate the terms and conditions. So, I don't know that we can set it to a specific timeline, but
timeline,
you're
but-
looking, I think what Chris's goal is to ensure that when, if somebody comes in with this, the proposal that we really like in an appropriate timeline, that,
That doesn't
we
get
nail
sat
it
on, or it doesn't get
yeah, just,
back
they won't
burners
just go
because
on
it's,
smoke
right,
kind of thing.
yep.
We have a beautiful downtown, and we want to ensure that it stays beautiful and it's not, left undone. So if
Right.
they get into a situation, this is kind of a way for us to step in. If there isn't a way for us to step in and help or do something, it could sit like that, and that's not what the EDA is all about.
Right.
So,
No, I agree.
And we don't really, because it's an RFP, we don't wanna actually put a price on anything, do we?
No.
We're requesting the proposal.
No, I don't think, I mean, and I don't even know, in the grand scheme of things, if the price paid for property is the,
The biggest goal.
Yeah, I
biggest
don't-
goal at all.
yeah.
I think the biggest goal is what's gonna be the end result and.
What ends up here?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, if a businessman's group, on Main Street or a group of retired people wanna buy it and redevelop it into their own, that benefits the city. Any other questions on any of those?
You mentioned there's gonna be a public meeting on it, is that gonna be like a open forum, or what is that gonna be?
Any sale that the EDA makes has to have a public hearing. So we will have to have a public hearing in this regards. So once we do a proposal, we will have to go to a public hearing and do all the formal things. Is that what you're asking me?
Right, I'm asking, but I guess I'm asking you, is there gonna be like a, so it's just gonna be the public hearing, it's just gonna be,
So you would
Any-
do
if
like a
anybody
more
has-
marketing meeting?
no, if anybody has any grievances with the sale, that's where they'd air those grievances?
Yep, that's also listed in there.
But
It's a
the-
neighborhood meeting.
Oh,
So there's a neighborhood meeting,
okay,
a neighborhood meeting in February, or in, I'm sorry, February, and then there's also a public hearing.
okay,
Yep,
so there's two separate,
two separate ones. So if there's any issues before it is awarded and everything, that we allow the public to voice their opinion in regards to the proposal that's being considered.
okay.
And that's all after the sale or before the sale?
It's before the sale.
Before the sale.
Well, and I would assume once, you know, especially in this first round, like we kinda talked, trying to market everything as a single property, you know, if, depending on what we get for proposals, once this first round is, if there is a proposal that everybody agrees upon is the right proposal for the situation, I would assume there's gonna be, you know, multiple interactions with public, multiple meetings like this where people can come and give their input, and then there'll be some kind of publicization of that plan, so everybody kinda knows what we're,
Okay, so go back to my timeline, Andy, and tell me if you want to, please note if there's more meetings or if you want me to prolong the time schedule.
Yeah, so somebody purchases this and you're wanting to have multiple meetings on what they do with it?
no, what I'm getting at is, if we're gonna be opening up public meetings for people to come and ask questions about what's going on, don't we have to have the finalized proposal before we go into that?
We do the deadline for the submittal on February 14th. The proposals will be opened and reviewed on February 14th. Possible interviews or requests for presentation is February. I don't have a date on it. It would be after the 14th, after the proposals are read, and then a public and neighborhood meeting. And then I'm not looking at a recommendation to the council or the EDA until March 14th. So in that February, you could have your meetings that you're requesting.
So for a month.
What?
We have a month.
Yeah, you have a month to consider the proposals, to ask the questions, to bring them in here for the community to hear what they have to say.
Right.
So do you feel that is enough time, or do you want more time?
So they're going.
Without knowing what the proposals look like, I mean, you might be able to eliminate 95% of them just as soon as you open them.
We don't know that, Andy, but we have to
We're not
get,
gonna need more than a month.
Probably not,
okay, that's what I needed to know.
So we do not need more than a month.
probably not.
Okay.
So a month is good.
But I have mapped it out that it allows the public to voice their opinion and come in here and see what's going on.
Are we already
You know,
gonna
you-
decide whose proposal we're gonna take, or?
That's
public-
the other thing I'm getting at. If we have, say we have 3 that score highly, are the public gonna input on those 3 and then we're gonna decide? Or are we gonna decide and then get public input on the sale?
We're not deciding it, well, I guess, yeah, we would have.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because if we bring the public in to, say this is the proposal, or we give them all three, and we've already scored it different.
Right.
Tell me which way you wanna go.
You know, because, you know, I'd like public input, but if I've already scored it different, and the public comes in and says, do it this way, then do we start all over again?
No,
I think the whole goal is not to start.
no, no, for the long ball is holding, no.
We also are pushing it. You know, if we have a move-in date of November, hopefully November of next year or whatever, I definitely want something. I think it's only good for us to have this rolling so we don't have a lapse of time in there.
Right.
So we don't wanna prolong it too long.
Just make sure you give us enough time to move out.
I know.
There's a lot of stuff here.
There's a lot of stuff here. Well, let's just, I don't know. I'm asking you guys, you need to read this over for next meeting and make your notes. And we can discuss, you know, in more detail as to what you want. You wanna do that?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, what else we got for the EDA?
That is it on the EDA.
So then I need a motion to close the EDA.
So
I
moved.
so moved.
I got a couple down there.
So who do I got?
Motion and a second.
I got Cody and Glenn.
No.
Who do you got?
Glenn and Dave.
Dave and Glenn?
Leave my name out of it.
Dave's worked up, we got done 20 minutes early.
No, we can squeeze in our workshop that we didn't do last weekend.
Let's do it.